Grand Rising to everyone. I know it's been a minute, but I'm out here in my garden and I just wanted to share something really quick with you. Um, that's freaking amazing. Okay, like really amazing. It's such a wonder, such a miracle that we have these things happening to us right before our eyes. So many different things that happen to us that we can't quite um, put our fingers on to say why it is, but it actually happens, right? Things that happen without you giving it instruction to happen. These are the things that I'm talking about right now. Like, these are amazing factors that's happening in your life, right? Let me go in here and turn this air off so y'all can hear me. Um, these things that happen in your life all the time without you giving it instruction is amazing, right? So we tend to not realize what our bodies, we don't have control over what our body do. We think we do, but we don't really have control over our bodies. We don't have control over nature. We don't have control over any of these things that appear before us, but we try to have control, if that makes sense. So today, when I came out here this rising, as I always do every rising, just to see what's going on with my crop, what's going on with my flowers. I mean, I don't have any flowers per se, even though I do have a pretty flower here that is part of my yellow squash. If you can see, my squash is falling over after the rain. But if you can see how it is beginning to bloom here, and my squash is blooming here. Um, it's blooming the outside, the in between the flower. What I never knew when I started a garden, when I first started this garden, I gave commands to the bees and the wasps and the pests. And I said, stay away from just this space right here, because this space right here is my overall, you know, space. You got all that space out there. You know, you can go way out there. You know what I'm saying? They got all that. And this is just me, right? This little space right here is mine. So I told the bees, I commanded the bees to flee, to go, don't come. And they don't. They don't come. So I was like, when I found out, because I didn't know, I'm a brand new gardener, I had no clue of how this actually really worked. I thought I had an idea, but I didn't have an idea of how it worked. And in the process of this, I just been kind of winging it. But what I found out is every one of my plants, every last one of them, bloom flowers first, and then becomes the fruit of that flower or that particular item. For instance, I'm going to take you back to what I just showed you, which was my yellow squash. If you see, this flower, as beautiful as it is, will eventually look like this and become the squash that was now green that's going to turn yellow. What I'm saying to you is, when you don't know something, you can be hindering yourself from something that is miraculously beautiful. I told the bees to flee. I told them to go. I said, please don't stay. I don't want you in my space. Never knowing that the bees needed to pollinate these flowers in order for them to turn into these fruits or vegetables. What made me even go live, because honestly, I have not been on here live um, today. I mean, in a few days, actually. I have not been on here live. And coming live today, I'm only here because I wanted to share this with y'all. And that's even if you even care. You know what I'm saying? Like, we share a lot of what we think that we want people to know because we think we are giving them what it is, a piece of information or a piece of knowledge, or you sharing something that you have um, experienced. So you think that you want to share this, but sometimes people don't even really care. Not for real, you know. So, in essence, this is something that I care about. I thought I would share it because it's very special to me, right? So, peace and love, vegan kings. Welcome in. How you doing, my brother? I'm doing beautiful. I will not complain, even if it was a reason to. So, I came out here in this garden this rising. I was informed by one of my fellow gardeners that, you know, certain things that you think is so beautiful can actually destroy your garden. And that was I came out here probably a few weeks ago, and I saw all these butterflies, and I seen like 3 or 4 butterflies, and I was like, oh my gosh, these butterflies out here in my garden, it looks so beautiful. And I was and yeah, I know how it is. And I'm like, it's so beautiful. And then come to find out, when this happened here, I'm going to share this with you. Um, I hadn't shown this to anybody yet because it really disturbed me. But when I found out what happened, I knew that I could start over. But this is what happened to my cabbage plant, y'all. You see, it's all ate up. This is all ate up. And Contagious Gardening, Mel, I told him about how my cabbage was all ate up and had all these holes. And it's like, oh, it's probably the butterflies. If you go out there and you see these butterflies, grayish, blue, or white, yellow butterflies, they're dropping their, this is how they feed. So I'm gonna give y'all a zoom in on what they actually, the inside of this looks like, where you can see where it actually, most of them are gone because it ate it all up. But I'm going to zoom in. If you can see the little small specks in there, they were larger than that, and they ate through the whole thing. Yeah, yeah, Lisa. So with that being said, they explained to me that these butterflies were not my friend. I thought, oh my gosh, how beautiful the butterflies is. That's why I said sometimes there can be, you know, um, trauma and beauty, right? Trauma and beauty, because butterflies are beautiful and they're still beautiful, even though I didn't know they could harm your plants or flowers or any of that. I'm learning as I go. So today, they also warned me, Contagious Gardening also warned me that there's one that comes around that can attack not just your um, that will come around that attack your cabbage, but also your tomatoes. So today, when I come out here, as I do after the rain, because I love my garden after the rain, because the overgrowth and the overgrowth of it just becomes so beautiful, and you see such a change from one day to the next. Like after the rain, everything changes, right? It's such a cleansing, but it's also a nurturing to a garden. So I come out here today in the rising when I as I normally do, and as soon as I walk over towards to look, I'm looking at my watermelon patch, and I'm looking at my coming over to my tomatoes, and what do I see? One of the butterflies flying away. I instantly got in tears because I was thinking, oh my God, they're gonna kill my tomatoes. These are my Cherokee purple tomatoes. And I literally have quite a few of these tomatoes on here. They're still green. They still have time to be on this vine. But I'm going to show you what they look like inside there. They're starting to turn colors. But there's some here and there's some back there, right? So they're beautiful. And then I have some up here that's starting to sprout out. I don't know if you can see in here. But this, when I saw the butterfly, I instantly got very nervous. So I went and I immediately made a homemade spray for this, and I sprayed it down. I sprayed it down, and we gonna leave that as that. But of course, this is as far as I got because I got so frantic. I started hyperventilating, thinking, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna be horrible. It's gonna kill my plant. This is, like I just need to be proactive." So I go in the house and I go and I start creating this concoction. I put a little cinnamon in there, dish soap. Uh, I put vinegar and water and baking soda and cayenne pepper, everything. I put all these things that I was told to repel these bugs in one concoction, and I start to spray it all over my plant. So let's know that that is already taken care of. But in the process, as I came over and earlier I was showing you, I was like, oh my gosh, it was the rain was so heavy, it knocked over my plant. But thank goodness I have this chair here, but it knocked it over because it was up. But you can see here, this is new growth and this is newer growth. Like this was already growing, but it's newer growth and it comes from the plant. It comes from the flower. But as I'm going through and I'm looking and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at my beets. The stems are getting thicker. They used to be super, super thin, super thin. These beets used to be super thin. The stems of these used to be so thin if they're getting thick, right? So as I'm flipping it around and I'm like, I wonder how do I know when they're ready? And there it is. Look at there. Look, y'all. Look, 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 look. Is that not a beat coming up out of there? I was in tears, y'all. This is a wonder. This is a freaking wonder. I don't know about nobody else. Y'all might not look at this like that, but I never gardened in my life. I never grew anything that was to eat or to feed or nourish the body. And to know that I can do that myself, that I can feed me, and that I can nurture what's supposed to feed my body, I can nurture it myself, and I can make it happen here for myself. I can do that. I can do that, y'all. I can do that. Peace and love to everyone joining the chat. Um, I have these peppers, right? They're all beautiful. They're all beautiful. And they continue to grow. Look at the little bitty one, right? But then you got the medium sized one. Then you got the medium. And then you got the larger ones. And they all like a little family. I know, Danielle. It's freaking, it's mind blowing, okay? So these peppers here, y'all, these are these are said to be red and orange peppers. Um, they have not yet turned the right, that color yet, but this is said to be out here. By the way, I'm out here in my garden grounding right now. Thank you, Kay. Thank you. Thank you, Kay Renee. That means a lot coming from you, for sure. Then I have my basil here that I have to harvest this because when you start to see the flowering, that's kind of the end of it. If you don't, harvest it off of there, you'll get a different taste of it. I'm learning different things. This is my Roma tomato plant. It's in a small container. It needs to be put in a bigger container. But if you look, it has a little baby tomato there, and it has one over there. So, and I have another pepper plant right there, and it's turning orange in the background. I don't know if you guys can see that turning orange there. And then this is my sweet basil here. And coming down from the ground and it's growing up the wall is my grapevine. And it's growing up the wall. I don't know if you can see it across the way, but it's growing up the wall. Um, but just being out here this rising, I have cantaloupe too, also, y'all. But it has not, I didn't even get over here to look at it before I went and got my phone to come out here and share with you this wonder that I saw with my beets. Like, I never, I would have never, I mean, are you kidding me right now? Like, that is freaking amazing, y'all. And this is all the foods that I eat. This is what I eat. I don't eat meat. I don't eat any of that. This is what I eat. So it means so much to me. But this here is my um, cantaloupe. And you see the flowers? I was telling you about the bees, how everything worked together. The bees have to come and pollinate these flowers in order to have the fruit come. Then I have my strawberries, but I have a little animal that comes and takes my strawberries, but that's okay. I think it's a rabbit, and if it is, I'm okay with that. You know why? Because, hey, that's what nature is for. Nature is to nourish nature. We are nature beings. This is for us. And last but not least, because I'm supposed to be taking my rising walk, but I came out here because I needed to see how, if I needed to water my plants or not. And it did. All that green is full of life. I'm so very proud and excited for you, Queen. I remember when you started. Look at how your babies have grown. I know. Y'all, I'm trying not to cry out here, man. Because this stuff is just, it's hard not to cry. You know, let me show you this. So, I'm going to show y'all my first watermelon. uh, it's okay. I'm good with nature. You know, I know every part of nature has its own purpose. You know, there was butterflies that came here and destroyed my cabbage. That's a whole nother conversation. Ready? This is my first watermelon that has shown its head. That's the first one, y'all. Ain't she pretty? Ain't she pretty? She is so pretty. There she is. But this is my whole watermelon patch. It goes everywhere. It's all over the place. My vines are going everywhere. Because you know what I'm talking about. You actually garden, so you get this more than anything. More than anything. Like, there is little bitty ones over here. Like right here. This one's coming in. Like, and I've learned about pruning. So I'm waiting to get, even you can even see, like, this one is beginning. You see that flower? It got pollinated, and now it's becoming a melon. There's another one right there. Y'all, I can't make this up. I can't make this up. This is like, whew. So when something like this right here happens, right? When something like this happens, but you see all this life around it, you begin to know that everything is not what it seems. Because life still exists in the middle of chaos. And you have to Apply yourself accordingly. If you pay attention to nature, nature shows you how to show up in this crazy ass world we live in, y'all. This is why I am so tapped into this. This is really, what I'm tapped in with. Before some of y'all got on here, I said, I came here just to share this because it amazed me. Watch this. I'm going to walk over here. This is just a flower that I decorated my garden with. And it comes and it goes, and it's the craziest thing I ever seen. But it's amazing at the same time. I want you to look at how this plant looks barren, like there's nothing here. But then you go boom, 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 and there it is. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's life. Y'all, this is life. Do y'all understand that? This is life. This is life, 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 life. These things are alive. Let me show you how alive this watermelon plant is. Do you see how it's grown all out of the pot? But it's attached itself. It wraps itself around things and it continues to grow. Look at this. This is a tire to the bike, my son's bike, but it's wrapped itself around that tire spokes. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's growing in its own way, and it don't need no direction. That's the beauty in this, y'all. It don't need no direction. I'm out here in my bare feet, in my garden, in the rising. When I tell you there is no better feeling than this right here, this is the truth. This is my place of peace. This is my place of peace. I'm not ignoring anybody in the chat. I see all of y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here. Peace and love. PHC, I see you, sis. Um, Thank you for sharing. So I come in here because, of course, like I said, I need to get on my grind. Like, I can't allow anything to kind of interrupt my movement. Like, typically, when I come on here, I'm already have been out there. I've watered my flowers. I'm not going to put water on them just yet. I'll probably water them when I get back. And that's only because I still see the dew and the water from the rain. So after the rain, you get to see all of that. So not only after the rain do you get to experience the growth if you have a garden, but you should look at your growth after the rain. Every time it rains, you should look at the growth after the rain. You get what I mean? Like, I'm setting y'all here because I'm getting ready to put my shoes on. Oh, these are earthing shoes, y'all. I walk in these, as you can see, they have like holes here, holes there. Um, and they keep me, I can't walk in my bare feet, so I walk in these grounding shoes. If y'all interested in it, I can get y'all the link and put it in there. I am an Amazon affiliate, and I do get commission for qualifying purchases. So I definitely will put the link for these shoes in there if you're interested in grounding shoes. And they actually feel so good on your feet. No kidding, no lie, no making it up just because I got some. I wear these every day. Y'all can see what it look like, y'all. Oh, Danielle, thank you so much, sis. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. This is the best day ever, y'all. The best day ever. I'm out here sweating already, and I ain't even came out here yet. But I'm about to walk my walk, get myself out here. This is my time. You know, I have to do everything before I get to the plantation. And I woke up, I was on live with Pretty Hard Conquer. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Distracted. I got on to YouTube probably around 6:30, 6:45. I was on with Pretty Hard Conquer. And she was there just kind of kicking the game. She said she was looking at some things that she was doing a little different. She was wanting to sit out on her patio, her sunroom, where she had some new sunroom furniture, Looked like he was drinking her tea. And she said something that I always say. She said, I want to tell you about me. I'm going to protect my peace. I'm going to protect my peace. And that's all it's really about, protecting your peace, because that's at the end of the day, you control you. You control you. You control you. Nobody else can control what happens to you. So, for sure. Hey, Anthony, welcome in. Welcome in. Yes, Danielle speaks about that too, quite a bit on her channel, where she talks about, you know, protecting the peace. I mean, it's just important. Y'all don't understand. If you have not gotten to a place in your life where having peace beyond all understanding, if you haven't gotten to that place, now you probably, if you've read the Bible, or you've tapped into any scripture, or you had any preacher or pastor, you heard people say that. But if you really apply it in your life and think about it for just the perspective of it is, and even remove it from that itself, think about what it means. What I just showed you was peace beyond understanding. You would not understand how someone could feel so much peace just being in nature like that. You get what I mean? Like, Monique, welcome in. Thank you for being here, sis. You just don't know why that feels like that. You know what I mean? You don't understand why that feels like that until you get to that point. I wasn't always appreciative. I didn't really care too much about, hey, Kenneth, welcome in. I didn't always care about nature. Honestly, I didn't even connect nature to me. I looked at it as two separate entities in my life. Like, I'm me, that's nature, those are bees, those are flies. Everything was a nuisance, scared of everything that moved and crept around, looking at the snakes and looking at oh my God, no, just scared. But when you begin to realize, I lived in a house where in the belfry there was bats. I was very, very terrified. Even though they weren't directly in my house, I was terrified of these bats, because every night I could see them, because I had a big bay window in my bedroom, and I could see them every night leaving the belfry, flying off. You knew they weren't birds because it was basically dark. And that scared me. Just being afraid of things that really you don't understand. When I found out the meaning behind a bat and what a bat actually does, and the reason that they even exist, is everything has its own purpose. It cleans up all of those. You hear those cicadas and those night bugs and mosquitoes and all that stuff. That's what cleans it up. That's what keeps these things. That's why it's such a big deal for not killing bats, because they're needed. That's why they want to protect the bees, because the bees are needed. The bees are needed to pollinate the plants in order for the food and the fruit to grow. Without them, everything's dead. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, without having nature work hand in hand, just like your inner workings of your body, you can take a piece of your body and compare it to a piece of fruit that comes out of there. So when you look at the peach, and I'm not gonna say what y'all think I'm ready to say, but it's that too. But when you look at the peach, it reminds you of a body part, right? And I'm gonna say this because my grandbaby, who's 5 years old, when I went and I got peaches from the farmer's market, she said, "Oh, Grandma, that looked like a booty." And I was I'm like, yeah, it really does. It really does, right? You know, the way it's shaped, it looks like the butt. But when you slice it open and you see the center, it looks like a vagina. So what I'm saying to you is everything is connected. Everything is connected. Everything is connected. And it's such a wonder. And I am so glad that I can do the connection. I can make the connections today. You know, I can appreciate the birds. I can appreciate the bees. I can appreciate the bats. I can appreciate the owls. Um, and then, you know, I started, you know, people were like, well, what's the purpose of a snake? And what's the purpose of a worm? And what's the purpose of a study? I keep studying, trying to figure out what's the next thing. You know, why is this here? Why is this way? You know, oh, these people got some beautiful sunflowers, y'all. Let me turn it around so y'all can see. This is gorgeous. I don't know if y'all can see them. Let me see if I can blow it up. Can y'all see them? Beautiful. The sunflowers. Yeah, so, you know, I get a joy out of just walking through this and looking at everything as it is. You know, at one time this was just all land and field, and then build on it, and it created to be something else. Um, Nature is amazing, and after the rain, it's even more beautiful. You know, it's even more beautiful. You see things in a different light, and that's even as an individual person. You ever realize how you want to sleep when it rains, how it makes you somber and want to sleep? Do you know when you sleep, your body heals and repairs itself and regenerates cells? So can you imagine the rain hitting these flowers, nourishing these flowers, and when you come out, or the plants, or whatever it is, and when you come out and you look at it, you see all this growth. Sometimes you see repair because the plants may have been overexposed to sun or have some type of something happening, and the rain comes and washes all of it away. It all works hand in hand, and it nourishes it and gives it what it needs, and then you have this new growth. Just like you, who wants to sleep during this same time when it's raining, because your body needs to repair itself and regenerate these cells. A lot of times we think that, oh, the rain here, I'm about to be sleepy, I'm ready to go to sleep, but we don't correlate it to anything. We don't put it together and say, oh, this goes with this and that goes with that. We need to figure out this thing called life, y'all. We got to figure out this thing called life. It's impossible not to figure out this thing called life and be in existence on this earth. Because when you do not know really what's going on, you're going to continue to walk around with these blinders on. You're going to have something here and something here, like they do to horses, because they don't want the horses to get distracted and look over here or look over there. Well, the way this world has been set up, they have us with blinders on. They give us this one size fit all explanation for everything. And then we run with it, and everybody starts spreading the same information to the next person. Oh, somebody gave you some information that you ain't never even researched. You never even looked at it. You know, a lot of times people ask me, well, you know, I'll give some information or I'll say something about something, and I'll get pushback on, where can I find that at? Show me where it's written at. Well, everything that's written was written by someone at one time before it was ever a thing. Think about what I said. I'm going to say it one more time. Everything that was written was a thought of someone at one time that then got put on paper, and somebody deemed it to be worthy, to be accepted, to be pushed out and become information. Downloads are real. Downloads are real. I get them all the time. So if I tell you some information and I say something, you say, well, where can I find that at? I have no clue. I I have no clue. Maybe you need to go in the sun. You see how Ra is shining down on me right now? I reference the sun as Ra, but you see how Ra shines down on me? That's how you get your downloads. Peace and love. Real Eyes, welcome in. I see you, brother. Adrian, I see you, my sister. And looks like Jay in here too. Peace and love, Jay. Peace and love. Yes, absolutely, Adrian. So, like, when I'm speaking on this and I tell you something, if you want to challenge me where I got the information from, most times I'm going to not be able to articulate a place that you can find it in writing. But when I write my book, I'll reference you to that book, because at that time, that information now will be printed. Does it make it more valid because it's in black and white print on a page? Or can we use our common senses, our senses of nature, and start tapping in and realizing that these things are actually make sense, that it makes sense. If you erase everything that you've been given, everything, just take everything that you learned throughout life and throw it out the door and start from scratch, you'll see so many things that you've been told have been misconceptions, things that can be seen in different lights. So that's how I do things, right? I take one concept that I've been told and I challenge that concept because I was told that concept, you know? Peace and love, coach. Welcome in. Peace and love. Let's see. Stash, welcome in, brother. Let's see here. Proof of downloads. It's the same way someone can get bopped on the head, go into a coma, wake up from that coma, and now speaks a whole different language. Huh. Everything, so exactly. And then what do they say? Well, how could they do that? It's just, I'm not very, I'm open to hearing everything, because at this point in my life, I realize everything that I've been told, everything that I've been given in my lifetime, probably half of it was not true. Recently, my sister sent me an article. It was actually I think it was a TikTok video where they were talking about the DNA of this black man, showing his DNA strand, showing that it goes back to the Americas here in the United States, where its original bloodline. And I said, how long have they been knowing that? Because, you know, the story that's been given to us is that our people were brought from Africa on a slave ship and put over here. You know, you have to think about it. If they gave us the story, we need to look into it a little bit more, because how much of that is really true? We were already here. You know what I'm saying? We were already here as a people. You know, we can't let people tell us things without researching it. This is the point I'm making. You know, do I hear this information? Do I believe? No, I can't believe. I can't believe in anything, because when you believe, you allowing someone else to dictate your thought process. Can you resonate with something? Absolutely. So I resonated with that information because it's something that challenged my spirit a long time ago. And I look at it as confirmation. I was like, it doesn't make sense that if our bloodline is as it's supposed to be, why wouldn't we be everywhere? Why would it be a section of places where we did not exist as a people? We're the only people that has had our existence erased. You have to question that. You have to question everything. If you don't question it, you will never get answers. And sometimes you can just put those questions in your thought process, which then puts us in the universe, and it'll come back to you with an answer in ways that may be unorthodox. You know how many times, we connect things to this particular cell phone algorithm, things like that. What you search, it comes back. Well, what about the times you just having a thought? You ain't even open your mouth. You ain't said a word. Ain't nothing come out your mouth. You just had the thought. And then out of nowhere, from that thought, became something that's on this phone here. And you be like, dang, I was just thinking about that. Do you think that's a confirmation? Do you think that's the algorithm? You ain't never spoke on it before, so how did it even show up? Perfect example. I don't go on Facebook. In no way, no form, no how. None of you even knew this. I've never even said it on YouTube. I've never said it to anyone because I was trying to figure out, what I could do to alleviate this. I have this pain between my inner thigh and my groin area that's a pulling, like in my lower back. And so I'm like, what is this coming from? I've never had this feeling before. Only thoughts now, only thoughts. Never Google, never looking anything up. And so I decided to do these stretches. I didn't know if the stretches was gonna be good to do that or not. I didn't know. I have no clue. But something just told me to do these stretches. It started to feel better and alleviate itself because I was like, nothing's gonna stop me from doing my daily walks. This is where I gain my clarity. This is where I have this is my me time. It's guaranteed me time. And I get on Facebook, which I haven't been on in, I couldn't even tell you how long. And I only went because my sister sent me something and it took me to a reel and I just was scrolling and I scrolled this reel. And why is it this girl stretching the exact same way I was stretching? And she says it stretches out the hamstring, the sciatica, and the hip flexor. I'm like, what? How? Right? How? Well, I know how. That's just confirmation. Remember, nothing comes to you without confirmation. Whatever that thing is, if you have a doubt or you thinking, well, maybe I'm just misreading that, you'll get the confirmation. The confirmation comes. It's automatic. See what I'm saying? Let me see what y'all saying here. Hey, Tales by Shanze. Yes, coach. That stretching, it did it. It did it. It was a hang stretch where you hang down. Maybe I'll demonstrate it for y'all one day. You hang down and it literally pulls everything in your hamstring, which was crazy because I definitely felt it in there. And it also felt it in my lower back where I was feeling the strain. And you can feel it, like alleviating that like hip area. So, and I think I told, I don't know, it was like I worked out one day and then the next day I felt this. It's really weird. I don't know. I don't do a lot of, outside of the walking, I don't do a whole lot of other things except for I have incorporated weights to my sister, coach. I definitely appreciate her because I definitely do that every day now and incorporate with my walk. So after I get back from my walk today, typically what y'all seeing me walk right now is by the time I get down here by this tree, I should be at a mile. And by the time I come back, it'll put me at about a mile and usually about 1.67, something like that. And that's if I decide to end it. Sometimes I just keep going because I try to do 2 miles a day. And that's the other thing. When you have a plan for yourself, just work that plan. Don't permission to alter that plan because you created the plan. That permission will get you every time. You know what I mean? But I just came on here today just to kind of, I didn't want to stay long at all. I just want to be on here and share what I shared with you. If you didn't catch the beginning of the video, it definitely was about my garden after the rain. I did a comparison of that to your entire life and how you should show up in life compared to after the rain. I just talked about it briefly a few moments ago. And with that being said, y'all, I'm about to walk, get myself going to the end of this trail and back. Great, it's over, y'all. Just do it. That's how you gotta do it. Just do it. With that being said, over the phone, I can't really see here. I really do. And I know I have been absent, but most of y'all know why. And I'll see you again the next time I see y'all. Peace and love.